Hello, I'm Jake Boudrot, Civic journalist at Tello Community Television. Joining me today is Iaian Langley, who is running for Port Hawkesbury Town Council. Welcome to Tello.
Thank you, Jake. I'm happy for the opportunity and chance to talk about Port Hawkesbury.
Now, I'm sure among many in town, you're well known, but there might be some people who moved to the area recently, or some people who moved in the last term, and maybe some younger voters who might not know you as well as some others. So maybe if you want to talk about yourself a little bit.
Jake, I'm a lifelong resident of Port Hawkesbury. I live on the south end of Granville Street with my family. I have a wife, Susan, and we have together 4 children. The oldest is now a student at KD University in Wolfville, and my other 2 daughters attend Civic, and our youngest fella, Alistair, is a student at Tamarack Education Centre. I've had a career at sea. I've been educated at the Nova Scotia Nautical Institute in Port Hawkesbury, as well as other marine schools in Europe, Newfoundland, Prince Edward Island. Work primarily in support of the offshore as master on offshore support vessels, leading a competent crew on modern, powerful vessels. Done that on off the coast of Nova Scotia at Sable, Grand Banks off Newfoundland, the North Sea, Gulf of Mexico, throughout Southeast Asia. In 2014, I finished my career at sea, and still a mariner, operating as a marine pilot in the district of Cape Breton, which includes Strait, Sydney, and the Boudrot Lake. Since coming ashore in 2014, it's given me opportunity to get involved in the community in a greater capacity, and those have been good experiences.
So what in your past and skills and experiences, skills you've acquired and the experiences you've been through, qualifies you or makes you a good fit for Port Hawkesbury Town Council?
I'd say some of those experiences would include primarily working with groups, working together to, set an objective, set a goal, work together to get it done, and we've accomplished that in various groups. I'd say looking back at the last 4 years, I've been involved in the Port Hawkesbury Economic Development Committee, founding member of the Strait Offshore Wind Task Force, board member for the Strait Superport Corporation, serving as the vice chair of the board, and chairperson of the Green Energy Committee that's supporting staff and making sure that we're ready to support industry as it emerges in the region. President of the Port Hawkesbury Antigonish Swim Team, which is a small organization. We're running an annual budget in the vicinity of close to $60,000. We keep our registration fees low, so it's good for affordable. We pay our bills. We have some good support from local sponsors. Looking back at my time as in the Port Hawkesbury Economic Development Committee, the timing was pretty amazing. Shortly after joining that group, there was a developer came to the Strait, and he spoke of designs for foundations for offshore wind development. That was new to all of us. We quickly realized that wasn't something that was within the capacity of the Economic Development Committee of Port Hawkesbury to facilitate that. But we knew that there was great potential for the region, the province, and the country. So my comrade, one of my colleagues in that committee, we went on to other municipalities, including here in Richmond, Municipality District of Guysborough, the town of Mulgrave, Chiefs and Council in Membertou, and shared with them our learnings on this sector, this energy sector, green energy sector. From that was born the Strait Offshore Wind Task Force, which was co-chaired by Warden Mumbercat and Mayor Chisholm Beaton. And after further learnings, municipality district of Guysborough, I don't know if I included them as well. And a big driving force there was their economic development officer, Gordon McDonald. He was in with our core team. And I'd say the biggest achievement of that task force was to have the province set a goal of 5 gigawatts of offshore wind in Nova Scotia. And it was a great learning experience there. Made presentations in front of several ministers, met with several ministers in the provincial government of Nova Scotia. So that was a great learning experience for me, and to work with a team to achieve a goal like that. During that period and after that period that the target was set, I pivoted and put more of my energy into working with the staff and board at the Strait Council Superport Corporation. With the emergence and expected demand of green electrons from industry use in the Strait, we knew that terrestrial or land-based turbines would be coming to our shores in Nova Scotia. And you know, when you stand on one of our assets, the Mulgrave Marine Terminal, and you look around our shore, you can see turbines erected, but none of them have come through that dock before. So our main goal and objective there is to install infrastructure to allow the turbines to come off, and we're nearing completion of that goal. So those experiences and working with those groups to achieve those goals, I think could be of benefit to the citizens of Port Hawkesbury as we move forward in an attempt to grow and prosper.
And that leads into my next question, which is why did you decide to run for Port Hawkesbury Town Council?
Well, when looking at how I see the future and the way we're in a paradigm shift of energy change and how this Strait is well positioned to facilitate that change, and my experiences I just described could be of benefit to council.
So as you see it right now, what are the major issues facing the town of Port Hawkesbury, and what are some of the strategies or solutions maybe that you might have in mind to address these issues?
Jake, I'd say when you ask about issues, I'd say I see opportunities for improvement. But before we talk about that, there has been many improvements in the recent years in Port Hawkesbury. I look at the safe pathway, accessible pathway coming from the Nova Scotia Nautical Institute and the Nova Scotia Community College for the students to get into the center of town. That's a big achievement. I look at on Pitt Street, the replacement of the water storage tank. That's needed municipal infrastructure upgrades. And there are several others. And there's a lot of good work done by volunteers in our community that has enhanced Port Hawkesbury. Just take a walk in the trail system and there's evidence of that. Areas of opportunity where we can improve, there are many, and they're costly. Streets, sewer, water, upgrades, sidewalks. Not a responsibility of a municipality, but I'm also hearing from citizens that there's an increased need in their eyes for housing of all types. One sector of housing that is needed, as I'm hearing, is people who don't want to leave their community but are having difficulty maintaining their homes. And there is a need for housing for those people. Not necessarily, not a municipal responsibility, but there are ways that I think the municipality can aid in that.
If you are elected, what are your priorities or goals for that first term, that first four-year term that once you get in?
Essentially, I see three main priorities. One, economic development, which will, support and pay for the needed infrastructure upgrades. Second priority that I'm keenly interested in is the Strait Green Energy Strategy, which is born out of the Strait of Canso Offshore Wind Task Force funding that they received. It's run by the, as I understand, and I may have this not exactly right, but it's operated by the municipality of Richmond. Funding came from ACOA, the province, Port Hawkesbury, and an equal amount from your municipality here in Richmond. And there's three objectives that come into that. There's a staff member. There's the second one is looking into opportunities around hydrogen, what could support that, and a ocean center of excellence. So there's lots of opportunities that could be centered around hydrogen. It could be testing for fuel to operate locomotives or tugs or aircraft. There could be green steel manufacturing. There could be all kinds of opportunities if we were to have hydrogen development here of industry that would want to come to the source. Not unlike back in the day when the steel plants came to Sydney, they came next to the coal seams to fire their furnaces. Another priority of mine is to understand fully the potential of the Langley Lake water utility, which again is now in the ownership of the town of Port Hawkesbury and the municipality of Richmond. Quality of water for our citizens is priority. That utility was built to supply industrial needs back in the first industrial boom in the 1960s, and as a result, the town of Port Hawkesbury benefited by a municipal water supply. My house was, when it was built, it was on a well, like the other few houses in the town. Because of the Langley Lake water utility, it supplies the town. As I understand it, future demands would be less than the total volumes required back in the day of a refinery, of a heavy water plant, of the mill's use requirements, of the requirements of a power plant. So now that it's in our ownership, I want to make sure that the long-term viability and future is well taken care of. That interests me very much as well as a priority.
So being that this is going to be the first all-electronic vote in the town, in the town's history,
Yes.
and there's a plebiscite on residents' opinion about the alignment of Reeve Street, do you anticipate that the election will go well and smoothly and there shouldn't be any problems on election night?
I have faith in the integrity of the process. I believe that we have a very, very competent returning officer. We have no problem doing banking online, and I'm sure this will be a secure system. I do have concerns for those who don't have the electronics at home to do this, but that concern is if they can get themselves to the voting station, they can vote. It'll be electronic at the polling station, as I understand it. So I don't have concerns with the electronic voting process per se. And your second part of the question?
The Reeve Street one as well, but I guess
the Reeve Street.
it all goes into the same thing. It's under the same banner as the election, and I guess maybe the concern might be that it could overshadow other issues in the election.
It could, and that would be unfortunate. It could be a distraction. I'm focused on upgrading and maintaining all municipal infrastructure and services to the highest standard we can. And to do that, we need to focus collectively on growing our economy. And there's all kinds of opportunity now that if we're not focusing on, we will miss and we will suffer because of that. Reeve Street plebiscite. Port Hawkesbury has had plebiscites before. In the early 1970s, there was a plebiscite on whether or not to construct Project 3.9, which is an asset that we still enjoy today known as Civic. 3.9 was a name given to it because of the cost. $3.9 million. Put that in an inflation calculator, see how many dollars that's worth today. That's approaching 30 million. That's a sizable thing to put into a plebiscite. Now, back to Reeve Street. Reeve Street, to me, as a driver, and the lanes, is paint on the street. If I go to Sydney, there's 4-lane roads, and there's 3-lane roads, the similar configuration as Reeve Street is today. Same thing in New Glasgow or Charlottetown. It's not uncommon. What is important is safety. We need a safe street. It's a commercial district. It's got to be functionable for the commercial district, and it needs to be efficient. But safety is number one. So, you know, I'm not a traffic engineer. I have faith in the engineers in the department. Is it perfect? Probably not. Can it be improved? Probably so. We need to make sure improvements are done, and the people can choose if they want 3 or 4 lanes.
Now, since you've announced your intention to run, how have you been spending your time in the campaign trail, and what are your plans for the weeks ahead in the campaign?
Jake, once you know, I got to the point in my head with the support of my wife, without that I wouldn't be here. Then it's okay. We're going to do this. What kind of team can we get around us to support? And very fortunate. I've got the best, and they're diverse thinkers, and they're smart, and so we've got the Facebook stuff. I was initially against social media. They convinced me we had to do it. So we're doing a Facebook page that's giving out our ideas on how the Strait of Cancer could grow and how the Port Hawkesbury thereby could benefit from it. I'm here today with you, which is nerve-wracking for me, getting in here, as we discussed earlier. I'm doing the door-to-door. And that's important. I'm enjoying that very much. And signage. We've got our signs produced by local sign shop, Maple Signs. We've got flyers there, I think, right here, produced by Snow's Econo Print, just outside Port Hawkesbury. And that's about it, I'd say.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your day, traveling down to Ayrshire here to interview me and talk with the people. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, thank you. Always a pleasure to talk about Port Hawkesbury.